Do you have dreams? Do you have fantasies? Well, it's time to turn them into realities. You have everything it takes to be a winner, and the Winner's Image Personal Development System has everything it takes to show you how. It will assist you in experiencing a change in lifestyle you have up till now only dreamed of. If you're ready to be a winner, we're ready to show you how. To get the very best out of this Winner's Image program, take the exercise book that's contained in your album and follow along with me. Now flip over to page number 3, right at the beginning, A Winner's Image. Sam Kalanick once said, when the dream is big enough, the facts don't matter. The facts have never stood in the way of the winner. The winner is the dreamer who understands how to turn their dreams into reality. And in doing so, they create a better, more beautiful world for everyone. The facts may be real. They could represent strong opposition. Nevertheless, the facts don't matter to the winner. That person who holds in their heart a splendid image of their dream. Now, I would imagine you've got a dream. You've got a beautiful picture that runs around your mind every now and then of the way you would like to live, what you would like to be, some of the things you'd like to do. To get the best out of this program, what I want to recommend you do is that you completely ignore the present results that you're achieving in your life. They may not be what you want. Well, just mentally set them aside. Throughout the ages, the winners have referred to a place within each of us called the higher self. That place where an image of perfection exists, which is continually attempting to express itself. It's your higher self that keeps causing you to want to do better, to move in the direction of your dreams. It's your old conditioning and your old image that's holding you back. This higher self persistently sends stimulating and upbeat messages to our consciousness, messages which are meant to protect our integrity and wholeness as creative beings. Messages coming from the heart always have a complete disregard for the facts or surrounding circumstances in our lives. That's one of the reasons I'm suggesting you set your present results aside, the present facts in your life, because the more you get involved in this program, the more you're going to cause those facts to change. What was, and what will be is up to you. Unfortunately, 99 out of every 100 people misread the signals they're constantly receiving. Rather than viewing these images with their inner eye of understanding and seeing them as truly unique pictures that are packed with power, possibility, and promise, these images are considered idle wishes, ridiculous fantasies, or daydreams. And it's because they're so far out of tune with their present reality, their present results. Well, I like what Patricia Schambrook once said. Don't give me the facts. Give me the truth. The facts are always changing. Now, the truth is that you have deep reservoirs of talent and ability within you. You've got the potential to do anything you want to do. And the more you're involved in this program, the more you're going to become aware of that truth. Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, once said that everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Viktor Frankl was a Viennese psychiatrist that spent the war years in a German concentration camp, and I don't suppose anyone has been subjected to more physical and mental abuse than Viktor Frankl and some of his associates. But it was while he was in that camp that he realized that regardless of the circumstance, you could choose your own way in life. So regardless of your circumstances, clearly understand you can start from where you are and change all those results and make dramatic changes. The masses of people who struggle day in and day out permit their mind to be dominated by their present results. They call the facts. It's lack and the limitation, the poverty which is reflected in their present results. They know why they can't win. It's obvious to them, and they can prove it. The facts win again and again. In other words, the person's present results are in control of them. They're not in control of their results at all. Now, if this is a description of your way of life, release it. Let it go. Begin doing what this program suggests. Your compensation will be well worth the effort. Clearly understand that regardless of your present situation in life, that wanting to win, to be successful, to dream of living in luxury, is not foolish or ridiculous. It is as natural as the night following the day. You were meant to have and enjoy every good that life can offer. You're God's greatest creation. If your life is not a magnificent adventure, it's because of errors, either yours or those made by the authority figures in your life. The errors, consisting of ideas or concepts about your potential as a person, have been lodged in your subconscious mind. I remember one time someone said that you and I are the product of someone else's habitual way of thinking. Keep in mind, when our mind was programmed, it was programmed by someone that knew very little about our potential, and we certainly didn't have the ability to even reject anything they were giving us. We were infants. Collectively, these ideas cause you to form an image of yourself in your mind. Most likely, it is this mental programming that is restricting your success. When correctly employed, the Winner's Image Personal Development System, with its various components and specially designed exercises, will help you to correct those errors and assist you in experiencing a change in lifestyle you have up till now only dreamed of. I want to suggest that you flip over onto page 7. We're going to go into a concept here now on self-image. We've made reference to it. Now let's start to understand it a little better. Your entire life evolves around images. Just as every company has a corporate image, every individual also has their own self-image. Think of your home for a moment. As you think of your home, be aware that an image of your home comes on the screen of your mind. Or think of your automobile. As you think of your automobile, an image of your automobile comes on the screen of your mind. And so it does every time you think of yourself. Now, science and psychology have isolated the one prime cause of success or failure in life. It is the hidden self-image that you have of yourself. It controls your mind just as surely as your mind controls your heartbeat. To remake your hidden self-image for success and fulfillment is to remake your entire life. Your success in any undertaking will never be to a greater degree than the image you have of yourself. Your self-image is your own conception of the sort of person you are. It determines what you believe you are able to accomplish. Your self-image was very likely unconsciously formed from past experiences, your successes and failures, your humiliations and triumphs. This image or opinion you have of yourself will determine how you interpret other people's reaction to you and significantly affect your success in everything you're ever going to do. Now, here's a point that most people don't understand, but I want you to read this paragraph over, listen to this over and over again until it's firmly burnt into your mind. No person and no circumstance on earth can prevent you from improving your self-image. George Bernard Shaw one time pointed out that people are always blaming circumstances for what they are. He said, I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up, look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. That's what this program is going to help you do. I like the way Napoleon put it one time. He said, circumstances, hell, I make them. Now, the degree to which you improve your image of yourself will be in exact proportion to the amount of truth you can honestly accept and the amount of positive change you engineer in your new self-image, a winner's image. Look at the bottom of page 7. You're going to see a drawing there that I have become very familiar with, and I've shared with hundreds of thousands of people on all corners of the earth. When we think in images. We've already covered that. Well, when you thought of your home, an image came in your mind, and when you thought of your automobile, an image came to your mind. Now think of your mind. When most people think of their mind, if they get a picture at all, they get a picture of their brain. But their brain isn't their mind any more than their fingernail is. Mind is movement, and body is the manifestation of that movement. I often mention that the brain cannot think. We think with the brain, but the brain cannot think. And to clarify that, I point out that it's reported we've got Albert Einstein's brain in a jar down New Jersey. But it's not doing anyone any good because Albert's not with it. You see, you are a non-physical being. That's that perfection within you. And you activate brain cells. And that's what brings pictures on your mind. So what we're going to do, since no one has ever seen the mind, we're going to use this diagram. And we're going to let the large circle represent the mind and the small circle represent the body. Now, the body is an instrument of the mind. We're going to take the mind and just separate it into two parts. Now, see your head as being your mind. Put an imaginary line right across the center of your head. Everything from that line to the top of your head will represent your conscious mind. And then from the line to the bottom of your head, we're going to let that represent your subconscious mind. Now, it's your subconscious mind that's literally controlling your body, not your conscious mind. Most people don't know that, but you're going to understand it very clearly by the time you finish this program. In the conscious mind, we think, and we can have all kinds of beautiful thoughts. We can gather all kinds of marvelous information, and we can repeat it. We can say, I know that. But have you ever noticed that most people know how to do a better job than they're doing? Their actions and what they know are not in sync. Salespeople know how to sell. That doesn't mean they're going to sell. Students know how to study, but that doesn't mean they're going to study. What we know is one thing. What we're doing is another thing. Our actions are being controlled by the self-image, which is lodged deep in our subconscious mind. It's made up of all kinds of habit patterns. That's the part we're going to focus on changing. Let's take our attention off the stick person, that's how I refer to this drawing, and go over onto page 9. You'll notice at the top of page 9, we've emphasized a common error. And I'm going to tell you, this is a common error. It's one I make, and I've been studying this for 30 years. It's one you probably make many times every day. Some people are always making this error. As a matter of fact, they constantly live with the error. Flip back to the bottom of page 7 again. Do you notice how the actions determine the results and the self-image controls the actions? Now take a look at page 9. Let's focus on this top paragraph. We're pointing out here that you may know people who are continually struggling to improve. Could be the salesperson, whose sales are low and they're always struggling to raise the sales, but without success. They may be a student, whose marks are always at a C level, and they may even drop when the students push to study harder. Now, do you know, it's a strange thing. The salesperson knows how to sell more, but they don't seem to be able to do it. The student knows how to get a higher mark, but they don't seem to be able to do it. Seems like they're wired to these results they're getting. Now, many of these people are broke. They never look overly happy. They're constantly in debt. Why? Why can't they improve? Well, let's analyze this situation and discover this common error. These people are trying desperately to change their end results. What do we mean by end results? Well, it could be your relationships, could be your state of health, it could be your position at work, it could be the amount of money you're earning. The people are trying desperately to change that. What they don't understand is that the results in their lives are being determined by their actions, and their actions are continually being motivated by their self-image. They have not yet come to understand that their results are a direct reflection of this image that's lodged deep in their subconscious mind. It's got nothing to do with what they know. You're well aware that some of the smartest people in the world are also some of the poorest and some of the unhappiest. It's got nothing to do with the amount of knowledge they have. Unfortunately, in our society, we award degrees to people based on what they know, not on what they do. That's unfortunate, but it's true. Well, we're going to change that in your life and in my life. These people are clutched by an unseen enemy because there is no understanding of self-image, which is actually the cause of their results. The whole universe operates in an orderly way, and one of the laws of the universe is the law of cause and effect. Dr. Wernher von Braun, the great rocket scientist, he pointed out one time that the natural laws of this universe are so precise that we don't have any difficulty today sending a person to the moon, and we can time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. He also mentioned these laws must have been set by someone, but we'll save that for another message. At any rate, one of the laws is the law of cause and effect. Results are effects. The cause is in the self-image. Their error is a common one. They are identifying with their present results because it's in harmony with their present self-image. They do not have a winner's image. Mind is the master power that molds and makes. James Allen wrote that way around 1903. He wrote it in a little book called As a Man Thinketh. Let me quote from that book, right from the bottom of page 9 here. He said, "Mind is the master power that molds and makes. And man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. You see, it's pretty foolish for us to try and hide what's going on inside, because our results advertise to the whole world what's going on inside of us. To the aware person, we hide nothing. Well, we're going to change that image, and in changing it, we're going to change the end results. Now, way back around 1960, Maxwell Maltz, a cosmetic surgeon, he made a phenomenal breakthrough, and he wrote about it in a marvelous book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I would recommend you add that book to your library. As a matter of fact, your library is not complete without it. Cybernetics is the science of control and communication in the animal and some machines. And it's actually like the automatic pilot in an airplane. Take a look on page 11. Ralph Waldo Emerson said something here beautiful. He said, "Of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is to keep them?" How many times have you said, "I'm going to change that. I'm never going to do that again"? But you never changed the self-image. He said, "Of what use to make these heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is going to keep them?" Well, it's the self-image that's the lawbreaker, and that's what we want to change. Take a look at the plane on page 11, and you'll see the plane flying. Now, we've got one point, New York, another one, Hawaii. Do you know, after the plane leaves the vicinity of LaGuardia Airport, the pilot flips on something called a cybernetic mechanism. I think you and I refer to it more as an automatic pilot. Now, that plane is on course, flying directly to Hawaii. The pilot can get up and wander around. They could come out and watch a movie with you if you wanted to, because the pilot is not flying the plane. The automatic pilot is flying the plane, the cybernetic mechanism. Now, should that plane veer off course, the cybernetic mechanism picks up the deviation from the set course, which is Hawaii. It feeds it into a coordinating mechanism. The thrust of the engines or the flaps on the wings are altered until that plane is brought right back on course again. Well, do you know that your self-image is exactly the same? I want to suggest that on page 11, draw a straight line going from the body right across, just the same as the line from New York to Hawaii. At the end of the line, put your present results. You attempt to change your behavior. You really do. You give it everything you've got. You're going to put more energy into it, and you may move off course. However, you're going to find that you come back on course again because you're trying to force it, and force won't work. You see, it's the self-image that's controlling the behavior. Let's suppose a person's selling $1 million a year of something, and they go out because they're all wound up. They've been to a sales meeting. They've listened to a good tape or something, and they may sell $300,000 of whatever it is that they're selling in a week. Now, they're way off course. The self-image picks up the deviation from the set goal. It feeds it into a coordinating mechanism, which is the nervous system. That behavior starts to change until they're back on course again. At the end of the year, all they've sold is the $1 million. They may have had a week at 300, but they still just sold $1 million. Now, what we have to do is take responsibility for the results we're getting. You've got to take total personal responsibility for your results. The cause of your present results is the self-image which is resident in your subconscious mind. This program does not cover how your present self-image was formed. Our only focus is on how to improve the self-image. Now, we've explained in detail how and why you hold the present self-image in another program titled You Were Born Rich. You'll see that program outlined in the back of this exercise book. And if you haven't been through it, I would recommend that you get into it, because there's a lot of deep information in there that'll really help you understand you better. But for the time being, you can change your results by improving your self-image. Starting right now, you must forget the past and take responsibility for the present. Let the past go. Now, that's not the easiest thing to do, but mentally release it. Begin immediately to plant a beautiful new self-image, a winner's image, in your subconscious mind. Just follow the instructions in this program, and your results will improve immediately and forever, as long as you operate with a winner's image.
Do I have what it takes to be a winner?
I have a lot of great ideas, but I never get any results.
What do I have to do to change?
questions. We ask ourselves dozens every day. We reinforce poor self-image. We perpetuate self-doubt. What a waste. The time to be a winner is now, not tomorrow. The key to being a winner is to improve your self-image. Aldous Huxley said there is only one corner of the universe that you can be certain of improving, and that is your own self. I'm here to help you create a winner's image of yourself. Now let's go back to our exercise book on page 15. Take a look at Leland Bell van der Waals' concept of the learning process. Writing causes thinking. Thinking creates an image. Images control feelings. Feelings cause actions. And actions create results. As you go through the various exercises in this program, we're giving you good reason to write them out. Don't just pass them off as your old image would dictate, saying, "I'll do that later." Get your pen out and get to work. Now, what we're going to talk about at this point is commitment. You could be in the habit of skipping over the detailed part of a project, assuming the details are not overly important. Many times they may not be very important. However, that is certainly not the case in this program. The details are vitally important. Taking the time to complete each exercise will solidly plant a winner's image in the treasury of your subconscious mind, and your life will never be the same again. Make a written, signed commitment to use your exercise book, your audio and video cassettes, as instructed, every day for 90 days. Now let me repeat that. I'm going to suggest that on the bottom of page 15, you make a written, signed commitment to use your exercise book, your audio and video cassettes, as instructed, every day for 90 days. Now that you have your commitment written out and signed, make certain that when you put your good name there, it means something. Now flip over onto page 17 to begin the winning process. There are a number of things here we're going to have to discuss, because everything has a beginning. If you drive, you had to learn how to drive. If you type, you had to learn how. The same is true for successful living. When you learn how to do something, you begin by learning the basics and then diligently working with those basics until you have them mastered. Although you may be impatient in the beginning because of your desire for improved results, understand that the time you invest to master the basics will pay great dividends in the long run. Mastering the basics of building a winner's image is the same as laying a strong foundation upon which you build a skyscraper. I want you to stop and think. In almost every large city that you go into, you go downtown and you'll see board fences up around maybe 2 or 3 square blocks. And they seem to be there forever. Every now and then you may go and peek through the crack and you'll see large equipment and all kinds of men working in there. And it just seems like those boards are going to be there forever. One day you go downtown and there's a 100-story building standing there. You say, where did it come from? It took months to lay the foundation. The superstructure went up overnight. You may want to realize that exactly the same is going to work here. It may take a little while to do these exercises, but you're going to find that the results will change virtually overnight. Now bring your attention to the bottom of page 17. We have a highly successful person has a winner's image rooted in every molecule of their being. Remember where we pointed out that mind is movement, body's the manifestation of that movement? As you sink that winner's image in your subconscious mind, it affects every part of your body, and your behavior is going to begin to change. You're going to start to form winning actions, and you're going to get the results you choose. Now let's get into the point of how do we create that winner's image. Well, if you go over to page 19, we're going to get into the basics of building a winner's image. There you see a 3-point program: fantasy, theory, and fact. There are 2 phases which must be completed in the process of building a new self-image. a winner's image, which will cause you to think like a winner, feel like a winner, act like a winner, be a winner. You must personally put each of these phases through 2 tests. If each phase does not pass the test, you could very easily sell yourself short and not properly complete each phase. Imagine yourself being hungry, going to a banquet, tasting the hors d'oeuvres, and then leaving before the main course is served. Wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense, would it? Well, let's not do that with this new self-image. Now, to go to the top of page 21, here we're talking about phase 1, the fantasy. Everything that has ever been accomplished by anyone was at first and for a time a fantasy. The fax, the phone, air travel, they were all fantasies, long before they became realities. Thomas Edison fantasized and illuminated the entire world. Alexander Graham Bell fantasized, he connected us all together. The Wright brothers fantasized, and they brought us closer together. They caused our perception of the world to shrink. Everything begins with a fantasy. Now, the first step calls for you to do the same as they did and choose your fantasy. Pick a highly successful person whom you admire and you can emulate. You could pick someone you know or possibly someone you've read about who lives the way you dream of living. Use them as a model to help you mentally build your fantasy. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you this is crazy, fantasizing like that. Why don't you get on with your life? Those people aren't going anywhere. Don't follow them. Listen to these instructions. I've often mentioned that I've got license to brag about all these ideas. None of them are mine. I've just picked them up from winners of the past. But I have put them to work, and they work beautifully. My life has changed dramatically from it, and I've done what I'm suggesting you do right now. As a matter of fact, I'm continually doing it. Name 6 people who are doing what you would like to do or who are living as you would like to live. Think of 6. Now, after you get those down, choose the various aspects of their lives that appeal to you and mentally put yourself in their position. Don't be afraid to do this. Just sit back and relax and let your mind take off. As you do this, be aware that you can see with your inner eye a beautiful vision with yourself in it. Fantasies are created in your conscious mind through the aid of your imagination. Now, imagination, Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world has ever known. And anything that we have ever accomplished, we accomplished first and foremost with our imagination. It began as a fantasy. So sit back and relax. Let your imagination take off. It's very important that your fantasy or image be complete. Use as much detail as possible. You could feel this is a foolish waste of time. Do it anyway. Now let this fantasy build in your mind. Make it absolutely beautiful. Begin to see yourself happy, healthy, wealthy, all the money you need. Life should be a magnificent adventure. It should never be a bore. And if you want to change your life and make it a real interesting journey, this is where it begins. So don't be afraid to build the fantasy. Now get it going really well. Now here's a few questions that you could ask yourself about these winners that we've already named. These are answers that are going to help you build your fantasy. How do they dress? What do they study? How do they manage their time? Who do they associate with? How do they meet and greet people? How do you and others view them? What income bracket are they in? What is their personal life like? What is their home life like? What kind of automobile do they drive? Are they a service-oriented person? Are they recognized in their industry? Make up some more questions of your own and apply them. When you've done that and you have your fantasy built, paint with words the vision you see. Make a detailed written description of your fantasy. Begin, this is my fantasy. I am so happy now that I am. Let me repeat. On the top line, begin by writing, I am so happy now that I am. We're writing our fantasy in present tense. Now that you've completed writing your fantasy out on page 23, flip over to page 25. Here, we're going to be testing your fantasy. If you are not well read in the area of mind dynamics or the creative process, these various exercises could appear to be ridiculous. Nevertheless, they do work and they will work for you. You are building a winner's image, which will enable you to live the life you've only been dreaming about. To turn your fantasy into a theory, which is the next step, requires a shift in your attitude. You must begin giving serious, conscious thought to your fantasy. Now, this is not a game. It's your life you're working with. Am I able? That's a good question. Are you able to live your life in the manner which your fantasy suggests? Well, are you? Put an X in one of these boxes. Just put it down, yes or no, whatever you think. Now, this is the point in life where every winner has separated themselves from the masses. The facts or circumstances clearly indicated they could not win. We're referring to the present results in their life, the results that were controlled by their old self-image. However, the winners have ignored the facts and turned all of their conscious attention to their fantasy. The fantasy became real in their mind. It turned into a theory. The vision was so stimulating that they would only think of how they could live their dream. There was no room in their mind for thoughts of why they couldn't, and they became willing to do whatever was required to turn their theory into a new set of facts in their life. You are able. You're definitely able. There is no one alive who can even guess with any accuracy at the magnitude of your potential. You're a spiritual being. For you, all things are possible. Now, you might not believe that. If you haven't studied this in depth, take my word for it. You've got nothing to lose. As I've often mentioned, if you don't like it, we'll refund your misery. Now, the next question is truly the only question you need ask yourself about attaining a winner's image. And that question is outlined for you on the top of page 27. Flip over to that page, and let's work here for a little while, because you're going to have to ask yourself some good questions here. The first one is, am I willing? This is the only question of any real importance which requires an answer. To make your fantasy into a theory, are you willing to make sizable investments in yourself? Now, I can personally admit I've flown all over the world. I've attended I don't know how many seminars. I have thousands of dollars invested in programs of this nature, and every one of them have paid me great dividends. Losers are not willing to do that. Are you willing to make sizable investments in yourself? Now, this isn't only an investment of money. It's going to be an investment in time. Are you willing to invest the time in the exercises in this program? Are you willing to go where you have to go? I have found it necessary to move to a couple of different continents and a number of different cities to turn my images into reality. Some people don't want to move. Are you willing to go where you have to go? Are you willing to do what you have to do? Remember, you've got to do what's required. Are you willing to change what you have to change? You may have to change your personal appearance. You may have to change the mood swings that you experience. You may have to change the way you approach people, the way you treat some of your peers. Are you willing to let go of what has to go? Remember, nature abhors a vacuum. If you're going to get something new, you've got to create a space for it. You've got to let go of that old image before there's any room for the new image. Are you willing to move where you have to move? Are you willing to study what must be studied? Are you willing to take direction when it is required? You see, a person could never be an effective leader if they're not an effective follower. If a person cannot follow direction, they're never going to be a professional at giving direction. Are you willing to continue in the face of failures? Stop and think of Sir Edmund Hillary. He went to Mount Everest, to Nepal, in 1951. Took a lot of preparation, a lot of money, a lot of resources went into that. And he failed miserably. He did not get up the mountain. Did he quit? Not on your life. He went back again on 1952, and he failed again. But he never let his failures affect him as a person. He didn't see himself as a failure. He just realized a way that he couldn't get up the mountain. He went back again in 1953. And so far as we know, in 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay were the first two to ever get to the top of the mountain and back down alive. Are you willing to experience failures like that? Are you willing to commit yourself 100% to living the way you choose to live? You see, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me I think my wife thinks I should be. Not the me that I think maybe you think I should be. Not the me that I think my children think I should be. No, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. Are you willing to possibly even accept ridicule, humiliation, and rejection as a part of the price to win? Every winner will tell you that they've received ridicule, they've been humiliated, they've been rejected. But they were willing to accept that as a price of winning. If your answer is yes to these questions, a resounding yes, I am willing, you are ready and you're on your way to being a winner. The material changes must by law follow. You're going to be tested many times every day. Becoming a winner in life is not easy. It's simple, but it's definitely not easy. It requires rigorous honesty and an abundance of courage. The moment you answered the question about your willingness, your fantasy became a theory. You are now ready to turn your theory, which is really a dream, into a whole new set of positive facts in your life. Congratulations, and let's keep going. This last of 3 tapes is designed to firmly implant the winner's image system in your mind. Let's start by quickly reviewing what we have done. You have created in detail a fantasy composite of your new self-image. Next, you affirmed that you are capable of living your life in the manner which your fantasy suggests. And you have confirmed your willingness to work at transforming your fantasy into your new self-image. Your objective now is to deeply plant and root the vision of your winner's image in your subconscious mind and keep nourishing it through positive input until your winner's image wrestles control of your life away from your old self-image. This winner's image system has a daily program to assist you in achieving your winner's image. Turn over on to page 31. Take a look at the drawing at the top of the page. There's graphically illustrated for you what we have just covered. You've built the winner's image. Now your old self-image is still in control of your subconscious mind, but the system we're laying out for you here will change that. There's a beautiful quote by Leland Vel van de Wal, whom I consider my teacher, at the bottom of page 31. And it's a quote I think that we should focus on as we move on to our 5-point program. He said, "Doing at once what needs to be done will ensure the possibility of success." Now take a look at the top of page 33. Here we're talking about the daily 5-point program for materializing a winner's image. Number 1, relax. Allocate 20 minutes 3 times every morning, noon, evening. Let yourself totally relax. Clear your mind and visualize yourself living your dream. 2, change. Completely review how you have been living and decide what changes must be made to become the person you have visualized yourself being in your new image. Then change them. Number 3, watch. Play your videotape of a winner's image at least once every day for 90 days, being aware of how much more you retain the message every time you watch it. Number 4, listen. Place the 3 audio cassettes from a winner's image in your automobile. Clear your car of all other cassettes. Play these cassettes constantly, every time you're in your car, for the next 90 days. Number 5, communicate. Make a list of 15 winners you respect and would like to socialize with. Phone one every day to say hello and ask if there's any way you can help them. You will be speaking to every one of them twice a month. As Van de Wal said, you only have to do something until you want to, and then you don't have to anymore. Now turn over onto page 35. Here we're going to make a detailed description of yourself as a winner. Now, this may appear to you as if it's the same exercise you completed on page 23. It is similar, but it is definitely not the same. You see, on page 23, you are making a written description of your fantasy. Remember, we've had a change in attitude. We've shifted our way of thinking, and we took the fantasy and we turned it into a theory. Now it's a dream, and we're at the point now where we want it to move into results. This written description of yourself must be in the present tense. Everything begins on a mental level before it manifests in physical results. As you make this written description, you are impregnating your winner's image into cells in your brain. Rewrite this image weekly. You will find it will keep improving every time you write it. And begin by writing, "I am so happy now that I am." Now, I'm trusting that you have completed making a written description of your dream, your theory. And as you write that, you let it soak into every cell of your being. Each time you write it, you live it. Now we're going to turn over onto page 37, and we will discuss each one of these 5 points in a little greater depth so that you'll have a better understanding of why I am suggesting what I'm suggesting for each one of these steps. Number 1, relax. This exercise is vitally important. Real winners are highly result-oriented individuals and always have a number of projects going at the same time. They accomplish more in a week than most people would accomplish in a month or possibly even in a year. They carry out their duties in a very calm, confident, relaxed manner. Relaxation is not something winners try to do. It is the way they are. Their subconscious mind is programmed to keep them in a relaxed state. Creative energy flows freely through the mind and body that is relaxed. Dynamic, creative, result-oriented ideas are built with creative energy. When you have let yourself move into a totally relaxed state, mentally throw the electrical switch in your brain that permits the winner's image to move onto the screen of your mind. This is the image you chose to create and that you described on page 17. See yourself winning in every way. Make it real. Make it in the present tense. When that winner's image dominates your mind, you are that person. The more often you practice this exercise, the more it will take root. Eventually, it will dominate your mind all of the time. You are then the winner, intellectually, spiritually, and physically. Habits are formed by repeatedly getting emotionally involved with specific ideas. Now, to let yourself relax, I'm going to suggest that you find a particular place in your home where you're very comfortable. Let your body sink into the chair, or if you're laying down, just let your body sink into the floor. Mentally, visualize a beautiful energy flowing in through the crown of your head and circulating through your body. Now, you do not try to relax, you let yourself relax, and let all of the tension leave your body. If you find you're having difficulty with this, you give our office a call, and we have tapes on relaxation there. We'll be glad to see that you get one. For you to successfully form the habit of living a relaxed, creative life, you must properly complete this exercise 3 times a day, every day, for 90 days. And as you do this, you're going to find that you will get into the habit of being relaxed regardless of the circumstance. Winners are relaxed beings. Remember, tension tires, relaxation renews. Now bring your attention to the top of page 39. Here we're pointing out you cannot get new results with old habits. Change is essential for growth. This is the one point that will require more effort than all of the others combined. Clearly understand, however, that the other points are of no value whatsoever if you do not systematically complete this exercise. Experience has taught winners that they would not have properly completed this exercise had they not done the others. All pieces are necessary to complete the puzzle. Here are 10 areas of your life you must review. You can and probably should add to this list. As you review them on the following pages, clearly indicate the changes you will make and when you will initiate the change. 1. Personal appearance. 2. Your personal life. 3. Your social life. 4. Your personal development program. 5. Your health. 6. Your working habits. 7. Your attitude. 8. Your time management. 9. Your business associates. 10. Your leadership abilities. Now, you'll notice at the bottom of page 39, I've given you an example here. We'll take the first one. Your personal appearance. Changes I will make. Completion date, within 7 days. I will visit an image consultant who has established a professional reputation. I will explain what I intend to accomplish and ask for professional assistance. I want to be recognized by my peers as one of the best-dressed people they know. Now, do you see, an image consultant is going to ask you what you do, what you work at. It's very important that you dress in a manner that's conventionally acceptable. I think it would be highly improper for a very successful farmer to be wandering around in a 3-piece silk suit. It's very important that we dress in a manner that's conventionally acceptable in the area that we work. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Go and take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, if I were a stranger looking at me, do I look like a successful person? Do I dress like a successful person? How important do I feel my physical appearance is? I happen to believe it is a very important part of our life, just as the other 9 areas are. But you're an intelligent being. Take each one of these and really think about it. Remember, we said it requires rigorous honesty. This requires a little introspection. And you're going to find that as you keep going through these changes, you're going to want to complete these exercises every 30 or 60 days. Now take your time and move over onto page 41 and start to go through the 10 areas. Take your time and do them effectively.
If you wish to complete the 10 areas now, simply stop the tape. If not, please continue.
Now, you may find as you've completed those exercises, there's areas that you would like to add to them. Go ahead and add them. If you think they're important, then they're important. Now I want to suggest that you turn over onto page 47, and we'll take a look at the third step of action we're suggesting. Watch. Play your videotape of a winner's image at least once every day for 90 days, being aware of how much more you retain the message every time you watch it. Make certain your mind is clear of any cares or concerns as you turn on your video of a winner's image. The movie being projected onto the screen of your mind imparts the important images you want deposited in your emotional mind. The repetition of watching the same images day after day plays an important role in dissolving your old limiting self-image, and at the same time nourishing your winner's image in its place. You may be inclined to pack the video away after viewing it daily for a week or two because of your familiarity with what you've been watching. That would be a grave error. Your old self-image was placed in your subconscious mind over a long period of time through the repetition of false ideas. Turning that old image around will take a short time by comparison. Commit to make it a daily ritual of watching your video for a full 90 days. Now, the pictures that you're seeing are going to sink deep in your mind, and you're going to be relating to some of the great individuals that we've referred to, because you want to realize that you're every bit as great as they are. The only difference in your life and theirs is in results. Now we're on page 49. Listen. Do you know that hearing and listening are two completely different things? We hear with one of our physical senses, hearing, but we listen with our emotions. I want to suggest that each time you listen, you let yourself get emotionally involved here with step 4. Place the 3 audio cassettes from a winner's image in your automobile. Clear your car of all other cassettes. Play these cassettes constantly every time you're in your car for the next 90 days. Do you realize if you only drive 25,000 miles a year, you're spending 13 40-hour weeks behind the wheel of your car? And it's your conditioned subconscious mind that's driving the car at least 75 to 80% of the time. By playing these tapes over and over again, they're going to become a part of your way of thinking, a part of your way of acting. They'll actually become a part of you. Clearing your car of all other cassettes is very important. It leaves you with the choice of listening to only those suggestions you require for the development of a winner's image. Then that is truly what you want, the proper theories and suggestions for you to plant in your subconscious mind. Whenever you are in your automobile, play the winner's image cassettes constantly for 90 days. Play them until you can talk along with the messages. Your mind may wander as the cassettes are playing, but that's okay. The ideas on the tapes will still have a very positive effect on your thoughts and actions. Repetition, repetition, repetition. It's the first law of learning. By playing these cassettes over and over again, the ideas will become a part of your way of thinking and a part of your way of life. Carry your winner's image exercise book that comes with the program to review on a regular basis. Once each month, listen to all 3 cassettes as you go through your exercise book and revise your notes as you go, completing each exercise as the message on the cassette suggests. You're actually going to see the change take place in you long before anyone else does. Now we're ready for the last point, the 5th point, and one of the most important. On page 51, we want to suggest that you begin to communicate with other winners. Make a list of 15 winners you respect and would like to socialize with. Have you ever noticed that birds of a feather do flock together? Winners love to mix with winners. Phone one every day to say hello and ask if there's any way you can help them. You will be speaking to every one of them twice a month. You know, making contact and staying in touch with other winners is a deeply rooted habit all winners have firmly established. You don't have to be concerned with what they will do for you. Just think of how you can help them. Good way to have a friend is to be a friend. It's like the fellow said, if you want to be loved, be lovable. People with a winner's image operate within a network. They are continually helping one another. Send them a good book or a good tape every now and then with a friendly note. Not to bribe them, but to help them. If you can steer business their way, do it. Consciously and deliberately, build yourself an excellent network of highly successful people. Get in the habit of helping everyone you can, every way you can. Just make it an automatic part of your personality. So make your list of 15 successful people. Put the list by your telephone and stay in touch with them on a regular basis. It won't be long before you are on their list to call. Now, on page 53, we've pointed out that the process of developing a winner's image is simple, but it's not easy. It requires self-discipline. Remember, the mark of a real winner is the person who can give themselves a command and then follow it. It will not be long before the feelings you acquire from your studies of the Winner's Image program will begin to create winning results. Don't force, calmly imagine. The more you work upon your new winner's image, the sooner you will develop a diamond-hard self-esteem that will be both unshaken by adversity and triumphant in success. With study, your winner's image, which began as a fantasy and grew into a theory, will suddenly, magically become a fact. Your winner's image will affect and enhance your life significantly. Please share your newfound mental and physical wealth with those around you. And remember, when you're out there winning and succeeding with your new winner's image, it will be you who is becoming the role model, the example of a true winner for future generations. Pass this word along to everybody you meet. Tell them to decide what they want, decide what they're prepared to give up to get it, to set their mind to it, and get on with the work. This is Bob Proctor, and thank you.